We have the loader mounted on the 4630. This is a 158. It's a very late serial number loader. You can tell the early from the late serial numbers based on decal. The last serial numbers that were made have a short line here that goes up to a steel line on the back side of the boom. The early ones had steel piping that ran down the lift cylinders. And the very last ones were the square-ended cylinders. This is when they changed the cylinder vendors. The early ones had a pipe ends on them. This is a very clean loader. We're fortunate to find this loader. It was owned by a school district and they only used it to push snow, so it's had very low use. You can tell the hose is original, still got the green paint. Again, this is a late serial number. The early ones used like a water pipe. Here where the later ones went to an actual hydraulic piping. The 158s, if you have the correct weight bracket, the stamped steel weight bracket like this have holes in the side which allow you to tie the loader frames into the weight bracket versus having that W-shaped plate. So we were able to get the proper weight bracket. Prior to mounting the loader, we stripped the paint off the frame. The frame rails were chipping off, looked pretty poor. So we cleaned them down to bare steel, repainted those, and this tractor had K&M steps on it, which won't work with a loader because the way the mast of the loader comes out, the handrail ends up hitting. Bought the John Deere step kit, new battery box covers, and then we mounted the loader. And we had to buy all new hardware to get the loader mounted. A lot of the hardware was mismatched, so we did get all new hardware. Here on the right side, again, new battery box covers. You can see where the frame rails have been cleaned up, touched up. Looks a lot better. And we're getting the hoses that come down here. We're going to get them cut down, and then they'll come around and into these couplers here on the side, which will be joystick operation. So all in all, it's looking pretty good. Coming together nicely. Other things on the 4630 that we've done, there was some cobbled together lights on the back that we didn't like. Brand X square lights. We got the original John Deere round lights, Vissel Focus. So 4630 projects coming together. The welding projects are coming together. This is the front bale stabber. This will go on that 158 loader. It will also fit the 148 on the 3020. However, I don't think a 3020 will handle two large squares. I would estimate the weight of each of those to be between 1,200 to 1,500 pounds. We'll probably make some of the bales 6 feet long so that we can sell to local feeders, so they'll go in the round bale rings. Otherwise, most of the bales will be 8 feet long. This was built to carry 2 3x4s, like 8 up to maybe 9 feet long, but it'll also work down to 6 feet long. So this is near completion. The bale trailer we've been working on, it's getting closer to completion. The wheels have all been repacked, wheel bearings have all been repacked, new seals. The bed is built, but there needs to be some completed welds on the top side. This was built upside down. Took it out, flipped over the skid loader, and sat it on the undercarriage here. This is going to be just short of 25 feet long. This should carry 15 bales quite efficiently. So we got to make cross members and tie downs and a few other things that will attach us to the rocking bolstering system. But again, it is coming together. And we'll load this with the fork there and then that 158 loader. I put a couple teasers on some past videos about this, but never did a video on it. This is a PT-18 Vermeer trencher that I was able to pick up this winter. If you caught the video of me actually transporting this from the place in Newton, Iowa, that's where it came from. That would have been mid-country equipment. They border on a salvage yard. This was advertised with a 540 PTO. These came standard 1,000, and I was a little bit afraid that it was a 540. Ended up buying an owner's manual prior to actually buying the machine. Found out that they did have a different sprocket in here that would allow 540 or 1,000 operations. So I went ahead and bought it because the tractor we're going to use this on, which will be the 8360R, is a 1,000 only PTO. I got to the place to pick it up and found out it already had the smaller sprocket and the 1,000 end shaft. So lucked out there. The machine is pretty old. These were built in the late 60s, 70s. I don't know if they went into the 80s or not. By Vermeer. They shared similar digging components to other trenchers that Vermeer made. Lower sprocket shot, the upper sprocket, drive sprocket shot, and the change shot. Digging teeth, probably 50% of them are shot, the other 50% will run again. This is set up right now about 16-inch dig width, which is what we'll keep it on. We're going to go ahead and order a new chain. The lower sprocket's still available from Vermeer. It's a 17-month wait to get it though. That one there will probably weld up in the meantime. And the most important sprocket's the upper drive one, which is still available from Vermeer. They have them in stock. We're going to maybe buy a couple of them because I think the only things they have in stock are the ones that are on their shelf. So we're going to make sure we got a few of those extras. That's going to be your number one most wear on here. The chains are a universal chain. You can get chains all day long. So anything that's going to be from Vermeer only, it's going to be potentially hard to get for this in the future because parts are running out. We'll go ahead and stock up on. The first thing we got to do to this machine is go through all the hydraulic hoses. As you can see, they're all cracked, even some leaking up here. And we're going to go ahead and take off the control valve body that was here. These were designed for an open cab tractor, obviously. You plug in one SCV and then ran everything through these valves. We're just going to go to individual hoses up to the tractor because obviously we're running a modern day cab tractor. The conveyor belt system, I think, is functional. It does need a new belt. We'll go ahead and get a new belt in here. Again, we'll replace the dig components. And then the shoe back here, these were available in clay tile or plastic. Unfortunately, this one has the clay tile. As you can see, the sled for the clay tiles. So I'll go ahead and build my own shoe, which will be similar to a Hydromax. These machines will dig about upwards of 20 feet a minute, around 4 foot depth. If you're at the full 6 foot deep mark, which is the cutoff point, which would be the same as your older wheel trenchers, like your Spikers or your Super H Buckeyes, some of the earlier versions. This will be around maybe 10 feet a minute, so a little on the slow side, but it should keep up like a Spiker trencher. The IVT can go down to about as little as 3/4 foot a minute, so we should be adequately fine to go slow enough so we can lay lots of drain tile with this. These machines were a chain digger and they did deliver it to a conveyor system, so they piled it up on one side. And yes, they were factory designed for field drainage tile installation. If it worked coming out of the factory, we're going to make it work again. First appearance, it appears to be a little rough. A lot of it's just paint issues. Overall, the machine's actually quite solid. So once we get things stripped down, get the oil cleaned up off of it, and start the rebuild, I think it'll shape up and be a quite nice unit for us for many good years of service. Anybody that watched my videos from a long time ago would have noticed this was the Ditch Witch project. This tractor's got too many problems to consider to continue to work on, so what we're going to do is actually going to remove the backhoe unit. This backhoe unit's off of a Case 580 series, or 580 Super M Series 2. Very nice backhoe. It was all built to the exact same specs as the tractor that it came off of factory. So the seat and everything sat at the exact same height, and outriggers and everything worked just like they're intended to from the factory. I've began disassembling some things here. I'm going to go ahead and take this back off this Ditch Witch. The Ditch Witch tractor will probably be, to a certain degree, discarded. The hydraulic flow filters and the pump that we had rigged up for this, we're going to make a mount, and it'll be PTO driven, and then this will become like a 4-point attaching system, utilizing the lower draft lengths. Your 3-point is 2 of the lengths, and then it'll be mounted on the back of the 4850. It'll all be a quick attach system, probably 10 minutes to hook it up, hook PTO up, you got yourself a backhoe ready to go. This digs in tile junctions wonderfully. It's a nice backhoe. Extend the hoe. You can still get parts for it, obviously. And this here I just unloaded off the trailer. This is a 856 John Deere blade. These are the same thing as a Degelman 4657. except these were made back when John Deere had their joint venture with Degelman, which basically was just Degelman putting John Deere decals on, painting them green, and selling them through John Deere. This is not an easy blade to find, but this is the proper blade that fits a 4850 John Deere mechanical front tractor, and was lucky enough to pick this up, and actually not even very far away, about 50 miles from home. So this will be going on the 4850 soon. These are hydraulic lift and angle, and again that backhoe will be getting converted to 3-point, and that Vermeer trencher will be getting rebuilt. So hopefully by early 2020, if not sooner, we are in a place where we can tile our farm easily, efficiently, and at a fairly decent cost. This blade's in very, very good shape. You can see the face with there's just absolutely nothing damaged on it or any rock dents. I do need to get some new hoses down here. Some of these hoses have gotten kind of poor, but again, a hard blade to find. It took me over a year to find it, but I'm glad I have it now. So stay tuned for that. Anybody that follows me regularly knows I like to fix my stuff up, and you also know I bought this chisel, worked on it a little bit when I had a few minutes time. Got some new blades on the outer ends. Still got to go through some of the scrapers and get them loosened up. New hoses, got this deal straightened out, got all that thing freed up, the adjuster. Been going through the standards on this, just trying to get everything squared up and the proper bolts back in the proper holes. Stuff like that U-bolt there was not even the right size. Went to John Deere, actually bought the proper hardware. Same way with that wheel stop there. So yeah, it's coming together well. Looks a lot better than it did when I got it. And I'll continue to get it looking even better, and then we'll have a nice unit that we can pull out of the shed anytime. Put it right to work. New tire there as well. So still a few more pins and things to get finished up on. I'm gonna get the hot water washer out and clean all this grease off. And the worst thing about it, we got a whole box full of hardware down there yet to put on, but these have been walled out and ruined, so we got all new bushings through that main wheel frame. On a positive note, the weed out there is looking pretty nice. There's the little 148 loader on the 3020. As you can tell, there's just not near the thickness in the steel there. It's just 1/2 inch or maybe even 3/8 versus like 5/8 thick. Just everything about it's a lot smaller. The loader arms are shorter coupled, just a scaled down version. Tractor is dirty, we're using it this spring, and the steering motor has developed a substantial leak, and by substantial I mean that much oil in about 40 seconds. So it'll need attended to. I did find a 4020 I'd really like to buy, but I just don't think I'm going to spend the money right now. You never know what I'm going to turn up with on this channel though. And the last thing I was going to talk about in this video, and you guys probably watched the Minnesota Millennial Farmer, but he had this F2F genetics seed on his website. I think they're sponsoring his show now or something like that. We also bought some of their beans this year. This would be soybeans in here in this Pro box. And it looks like, according to that they're renting the boxes. This was developed by some investors that wanted to sell cheaper seed. These are treated soybeans. They're just Roundup Ready 1s, but they're talking around $30 versus $60. So you can get yield loss versus, with the others, you're going to be making the same amount of income. We're trying one Pro box to see how they work. We also tried some of their corn, which was around $110 a bag. So I'm excited to see how this yields, excited to see how the corn yields. And the F2F network, which is a farmer business network, they are venturing into other things like health insurance and even some ag-based lending. So it's something to keep an eye on. And I don't think they'd had such a good go at it, except for right now when the ag times are just so poor right now. Anybody's looking for ways to save money, and this definitely appears to be a good one. Then of course below it here we just have some Asgrows in a box, and then we got several boxes over there around the other side of their tractor. But several other new things to show you guys and talk about. Lots going on. As you can tell, there's lots of equipment, things to repair, and lots of things going on for activities. So definitely not a shortage of content for videos. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe, and hit the thumbs up button if you would.